It is exactly 10 p.m. in the studios of UBC TV. Hello there and welcome to the second and final edition of News Tonight. First though, let's have a look at what's making headlines at this hour. Stories tonight. Legislators want government to use the Karamoja disarmament style to curb illegal fishing. Uganda registers 34,000 new cancer cases annually. Elsewhere in the world, Organization of Islamic Cooperation holds emergency meeting of Afghanistan on Afghanistan. And in sports, Medad Segona launches manifesto, targets proper governance. A very warm welcome once again, and this is Monday, the 23rd day of August 2021. On sign language, it is Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Rukidi Edward Kijanangoma. Now, the UPDF Fisheries Protection Unit has destroyed substandard fishing nets worth 800 million shillings at Dimo landing site in Masaka district. Lieutenant Bernard Baingana, who heads the unit, says among the destroyed nets include those of monofilament, as we hear in this report.
Tufunye court order etukiliza kubeera naba nemukuru district fisheries officer soke tubyoche in public.
Since government established the unit to fight poor fishing habits on Ugandan waters, substandard fishing nets worth 800 million have been destroyed from the landing sites of Kasensero, Lambu and Dimo on Lake Victoria in Masaka district.
Akakatimba akokolaba kakwata katebye nyanja bingi nnyo ate tikakkirizibwa mu mazzi gonna ga Uganda. Waliwo eyo yolaba kokota eyo twaliwo ekyona ekyesiga ajjayo buli kimu kyonna nakenyanja kalina inchi emu.
The reluctance during elections gave fishermen an opportunity to acquire monofilament fishing nets.
Twebaza nnyo aba FPU abasobodde okukola omulimu guno omunene nnyo gwe mulaba emabega wange nti ebitimba bino bingi ddala. Bw'otunula mulimu manyala, mulimu ebisambu, mulimu obutimba obuli undersize, mulimu amalobo nago agatatuukana na size eragirwa. Buli kyonna ekimenya amateeka mu ekiri muno n'ebitimba ebirala ebiwalulwa byonna mu ebiri muno. Era bw'otunulira entuumu eno oba ogibaliridde nti eyinza okubeeramu amasamba agasooka mu
eryato erikkirizibwa kubeera ku mazzi erina number plate ngeze zolaba ngeri ebyolaba awo agalina number plate. Ekyokubiri erina fuuti ezikkirizibwa eryato kubeera ku mazzi eritandikira ku fuuti 28 kudda waggulu. Eryo the recommended size.
Muvubambi oyo yekwasa nti yakwatibwa mu nvuba ntuufu ng'ate ali mu nvuba mbi, kino kimuwoleka.
Twebaza aba UPDF okubanga bajja ne tusobola okukwatagana nabo okulwanyisa ku nvuba embi.
Now, Uganda Cancer Institute has registered double increase of cases of cancer and high mortality. This was revealed during a tour of members of parliament on the health committee at the institute. The legislators were on a fact-finding mission on the public health response to cancer management in the country. Zahara Bigaba gives us more.
Members of Parliament on the Health Committee toured the Radiotherapy Center, Children Cancer Wards, Center of Excellency, and Radiotherapy Banker Center. The state-of-art radiotherapy machines, laboratory services, and the daily management, clinical services at the Institute was promising. The committee members appealed for cancer services to be extended to the grassroots.
Wouldn't it be
more training for oncologists, more outreaches in the community for screening and early intervention, because science has it that when you detect early, intervene early, you have better treatment outcomes.
The Executive Director of Uganda Cancer Institute, Dr. Jackson Oriem, appealed to the Health Committee for more financial support.
We have about 13, maybe at most about $14 million. We should be able to equip the radiotherapy bunkers completely. So that means the number has more than double the incidence of cancer. And that goes with also high mortality, because only 20% of our cancer patients live more than a year. After 1 year, if you go back, you'll find that 80% of them have died. Yeah, so that means we have high cancer incidence, high mortality rate.
The committee chair, Charles Ayome, says the National Cancer Policy, which is in its final stages, will enhance cancer care and management. A multi-sectoral approach to deal with the cancer burden was also encouraged.
But we are saying also that the figures are quite high. Prevention is the way to go. We are excelling in management, in treatment with all these beautiful machines. But I think in terms of health promotion, what are we doing as a country? It is not only within the domain of Ministry of Health or UCI, but it's multi-sectoral, because most of these are behavior issues. How do we prevent this cancer? How do we detect it early? What are the early warning signs? And this has to cascade to the regional level. Screening and basic management should also be at general hospitals, health center 4s, and probably also health center 3s.
Uganda registers at least 34,000 new cancer cases annually, of which Uganda Cancer Institute receives about 20% of the patients. Unfortunately, the mortality is often high due to late reporting of patients, with most at stage 3 and 4. Zahra Abigaba, UBC News.
That's the state of cancer in the country, numbers increasing and at a high rate. Members of Parliament representing the fishing community have called on government to employ the Karamoja disarmament style to curb illegal fishing on water bodies. The legislators decry what they describe as unfriendly approach to enforcement by the Fisheries Protection Unit of the Uganda People's Defence Forces. This was during a meeting with State Minister for Fisheries Helen Adoa at National Fisheries Research Institute in Kajansi. Here is our reporter Henry Okrut with more.
This meeting was meant to find a way of promoting harmony between the fishing community and the Fisheries Protection Unit of the UPDF. Before long, members of Parliament representing fishing communities poured out their grievances.
I have been to all these markets and I've seen illegal fish. Where does it pass? If our people in Kalangala, in Namayingwa, and all island districts do not have where they sell this fish to, do you think they are going to engage in illegal fishing? They will not, because the fish will just get rotten in their rooms.
One time I went to Irima learning site. I found the boys who had, their parents had sold their cows to send the money to Kawongo. That's when they were brought back in a boat with cows.
The concerns centered on brutality that they said still continue on water bodies by enforcement agencies.
We have a new Nalufenya, as was portrayed by the public then, which is specifically preserve of the fishing communities called the Kawongo.
It is an issue where people have died, an issue of rape, an issue of properties destroyed, and we cannot run away from that.
I want to ask Madam Minister and your team, and the security forces are here, can a Ugandan national be allowed to settle freely and work on a different water body that is not in Uganda?
Quite agreeable was the fact that a problem was identified, and so there was need for a lasting solution. Moses Kabusu, the Member of Parliament for Chamswa County in Karangala District, proposed one.
If we helped these people, they return the illegal, unwanted nets, government does something in exchange for them. The disarmament went on successfully, and the Kajongs do not have the guns. These people, you have said, the director has said, we are every other day, we are impounding 2,000 nets and so and so. It will continue unless government intervenes.
As he emphasized this, other MPs agreed with the adoption of the Karamoja disarmament style to fight illegal fishing.
Like the way they have facilitated the other farmers or citizens, let also the fisher folks be considered either in groups so that they are given either nets or the boats, the required standard of boats needed, the required standard of nets needed, and the required engines needed so that everybody survives economically.
What we do think can work. Government employed a disarmament practice with the Karjongs. Whoever returned a gun was exchanged either with cows or money to restart some other business.
When we look at the disarmament process that took place the other time in Karamoja, where these persons who were possessing the illegal guns were wooed by government, then they came and then they were asked to give out back to government the illegal arms, and then they are given something to start a livelihood.
Such moves will restore harmony between the two groups, something which State Minister for Fisheries Helen Adowa earlier alluded to.
That's why I'm advocating that these poor youth, these poor women, these poor men be put in two groups, and we buy them also their own boats. Let them have their own boats, their own engines, and their own nets. They will start from there and they will also expand and own something.
Present at the meeting were the fisheries protection officials who called for non-politicization of fisheries enforcement.
A fish transporter on a motorcycle got a panga, he chopped a soldier the ear and 3 fingers, and the policeman also lost a hand. But it was not even reported in the media, it was not published. So, for us when we suffer, nobody sympathizes with us.
This meeting stems from a matter of national importance that was raised by Bugabula North Member of Parliament, John Terra, about 2 weeks ago. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Thanks, Henry, for that report there. President Yoweri Tibuhaburwa Kaguta Museveni has paid tribute to fallen former commander of the Uganda People's Defence Force Center for Doctrine Development, Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa. Now, the Chief of Defence Forces, General Wilson Mbasu Mbadi, delivered the condolence message on behalf of the President at General Pecos Kutesa's home in Kabula, Liantonde district.
Addressing mourners at the fallen General Pecos Kutesa's burial in Kabura in Liantonde district, Chief of Defence Forces General Wilson Mbasu Mbadi said the foreign comrade will be remembered for Kachiri detachment attack on the 6th of April 1981.
We attacked Kakiri UNLA detachment on the 6th of April 1981 as the assault from the east of Kampala on Hoima Road was going on. Standing near one of the shops, I saw Pecos crawling in the typical military way to capture the heavy machine gun. The UNLA had fled and left alone.
He said Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa also took part in the battles of Masindi on 20th of February 1984 and Kabamba on the 1st of January 1985.
Also took part in the Battle of Masindi on the 20th of February 1984 and Kabamba on the 1st January 1985, as well as other battles of encounter like the one of Mataba Swamp near Chanjinja.
Minister for Defence and Veterans Affairs Vincent Bamulanga Kisempijja and the State Minister for Internal Affairs General David Muhoozi commended the foreign soldier for his useful contribution in the struggle.
Whenever our ways met or crossed, I found a thing or two to learn from him. I must testify that I will always miss and remember this gallant son of our soil, the calm military general, and his bravery and unwavering commitment to the NRM ideology and cause.
A huge legacy. The lesson we pick from him, from his life, is to live valuable lives, to write our memoirs, not just in print, but also live a worthy life to write home about, so that we earn our names a place.
Former Army Commander General Mugisha Muntu and General Eri Tumwine noted that the late Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa played a big role in the NRA revolution.
Katonda okulaba nti waliko abamu ababeera n'ebitiibwa ebyawagulu naye ne basigala nga bali wansi nga bantu balina obukakkamu kuba nga bali mu bantu aba bulijjo.
Pecos has died a satisfied man for leaving Uganda, which we sang and wished and worked and sacrificed for when we sang Kibonge chanini vijana wanahamia msituni, Kibonge chanini vijana wanahamia msituni, walienda huko msituni. Kupigania wananchi.
Haruna Mutesa Sila reporting in Lyantonde for UBC Tonight.
Forum for Democratic Change Opposition Party has extended condolences to families of fallen officers, late Lieutenant General Pecos Kutesa and Deputy Inspector General of Police, Major General Paul Lokich, who passed away last week. While addressing the media at the party headquarters in Najanankumbi, the FDC spokesperson Semu Junganda described the late Pecos Kutesa as a general who served the country diligently. Take a watch.
Pecos Kutesa lived a fairly modest life. In fact, some people may not even know him. If you read the UPDF Act, he's one of the officers who are permanently in the role as historical members of the UPDF Council, the Forces Council. So therefore, as the FDC would like to invite other senior UPDF officers to emulate a person like Pecos Kutesa.
While the government awaits receiving over 18 million doses of COVID-19 vaccination, FDC has tasked government to identify other vaccination centers and work with private health centers to ease access to vaccination for Ugandans.
At the party, we are now demanding for a vaccination plan. Government must publish a vaccination plan showing, in fact, because we now know that the vaccines will begin arriving next month, we need even to have a list of those who will benefit from the first batch that will arrive in September. We also need a list of places where vaccinations will be taking place.
Meanwhile, Ugandans in business centers are working normally, although government should also lift the ban on places of worship and schools.
The FDC has communicated earlier, once the country fully open during this period when the second wave is terminating, this will allow everybody, including places of worship, including schools, to cover up lost ground. Children should be facilitated to quickly sit for promotion exams and sent back home before the third wave struck.
In September, Uganda will receive 9 million doses of Johnson & Johnson, 18 million doses of Chinese Sinopharm, as well as 18 million doses from COVAX. Government needs to work with private health centers. Lydia Chomkama, UBC News.
The Electoral Commission legal team has asked High Court to dismiss the petition filed by NUPS Fred Nyanzi challenging Mohamed Nsereko's victory as Kampala Central Member of Parliament. Now this comes after Fred Nyanzi failed to serve Mohamed Nsereko a petition he filed against him, yet the case is set to be heard.
All parties in the parliamentary election petition filed by Nupus Fred Nyanzi challenging Mohamed Nsereko's victory on Kampala Central Member of Parliament have appeared before Justice Margaret Opinyi. However, the prime respondent in the matter, Mohamed Nsereko, was absent in court. On this, the Electoral Commission lawyer, Eric Sabiti, asked court to dismiss the petition. Eric Sabiti's prayers came after notifying court that the petitioner Fred Nyanzi failed to serve the respondent, Mohamed Nsereko, the petition, and that court cannot continue with the matter without the prime respondent. Justice Margaret Opinyi later told all parties to file written submissions in this application, upon which court will best to deliver the ruling on notice. The petitioner Fred Nyanzi was not happy with court directives.
And this is the second time court is sitting and is not appearing. He's just sending lawyers. Electoral Commission answered in time. They replied, they defended themselves. They responded to the law. We don't know why really they are now acting for the third respondent who has been stubborn and has refused to fight in his defense up to now.
Nyanzi also accused the Electoral Commission's legal team for defending Mohamed Nsereko in this matter.
We are afraid that the Electoral Commission is appearing not to be impartial. It is tending to be one-sided. It is acting for the third respondent, who is Mohamed Nsereko, which is wrong by law. The Electoral Commission is supposed to defend itself on its own irregularities, not for Nsereko Mohamed, who breached electoral laws.
Earlier this year, Justice Philip Odoki dismissed Fred Nyanzi's application seeking to serve Mohamed Nsereko petition through newspapers after he failed to satisfy court that he failed to trace Nsereko.
Applicant's prayer was to serve the third respondent by substituted service and struck hole by posting it upon the court's notice board is not granted.
Nantong Rebecca, UBC News.
Ms. Lucina Chiobe Mbonye has handed over Office of State House Comptroller to her successor, Mrs. Jane Barechi, formerly the Special Presidential Assistant for Economic Affairs. The handover ceremony took place at State House Administration Block at Okello House in Kampala and was attended by all senior management officers. In her handover statement, Nachiobe commended and thanked President Museveni for the opportunity to serve as the State House Comptroller since May 2010. She congratulated the new State House Comptroller, Mrs. Jane Barechi, and advised her to be a leader who listens, who knows the way and shows the way. After her handover report, Nachiobe presided over a ceremony as the new SHC Barechi took the oath of secrecy that was administered by the Human Resource Commissioner of State House, Mr. Ronald Chiberu. Nachiobe commended staff for the support and cooperation given to her during her tenure. In her statement, Mrs. Jane Barechi thanked the outgoing comptroller for the support rendered to her during her tenure and during the transition period.
I wish to begin by congratulating you on this great appointment. I also wish to thank the entire senior management and safeguarding the Constitution and the laws of Uganda, promoting the welfare of the citizens and protecting the objectives of State House. State House executes its mandate through the following key strategic objectives. In 2021, I was promoted to Senior Presidential Assistant in Economic Affairs. That was in July. That was in January. UBC initiatives both internally and externally as a means of enhancing interventions that can enhance production, service delivery, and government came to power out of the popular struggle.
Madam Leader joined.
Let's go to Karamoja now, where Uganda People's Defence Forces in Moroto have handed over a 23-year-old Lokiru Lochu, a resident of Modonyam village in Panyangara sub-county, Kotito district, to warden officers at Moroto government prison. Lokiri was arrested by UPDF after he was intercepted driving stolen cattle from Madeniko at Loptuk in Moroto district. We have this story.
23-year-old Lokiru Lochi was among the 224 prisoners who escaped from Moroto government prison in September last year. According to the Moroto prison officials, in Moroto, Lokiru went with one of the 14 guns. Lokiru says after seeing others were running, he decided to follow. He asked security operatives to take him out of Karamoja region in order to end the vice. The 3rd Division spokesperson, Captain Edwin Mawanda, says Lokiru was arrested after raiding over 300 heads of cattle with 16 others.
They were in the process of, they were from the raid and were shot. So our forces, when they were doing their patrol, they found him when he could not move, and they interrogated him and he reviewed that information.
According to Kotido LC5, Loki Paul Komol, Lokiru was among the notorious warriors who are terrorizing Karamoja and neighbors.
They are the one causing insecurity. It is the reason why I've always put the division command on pressure to say, use your intelligence and track these guys and get them. Let us have these people arrested so that we can have a peaceful Kotido and a peaceful Karamoja. Because these people who escape from the prison have become wild. They have become wild. They don't even sleep home. That's why when operation, this Koran and such can never get to them. They sleep in the bushes. They sleep on mountains.
However, 3rd Division spokesperson Edwin Mawanda says UPDF will ensure safety of everyone in the region.
The UPDF are on ground, and this one, let me just pass it the information. Whoever who needs or whoever who needs security, or for us, we are available on ground, and we are there to protect our people and their property.
Loki calls upon government to add more security personnel in the region, that it will end insecurity in the region.
Good number of soldiers should be on the ground. Like for example, these hot areas, Kotido, Moroto, Kabong, need to be reinforced by additional brigades. If Kotido can be reinforced by another 2 brigades, Kabong is reinforced with another 1 brigade, so that we have enough presence of the forces on the ground.
Lokiru was handed over to the prison wardens in Moroto government prison. To date, over 90 escapees out of 224 have been rearrested and 4 guns have been recovered out of the 14. Maureen Niga, Helen Barbara, reporting for UBC TV News.
To Kanungu district, where Minister for ICT and National Guidance Dr. Chris Baryomunsi has urged leaders of Kanungu district to focus on development and welfare of the people they lead. He was meeting leaders of the district together with area members of Parliament James Kaberuka on government development programs, as we hear in this report.
Leaders from Kanungu have met to discuss how they can develop their region. The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, also Chinchizi East Legislator Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, advised leaders to have a better plan for the development of the district.
When you get to a district where you find the chairperson is conflicting with the cow, for instance, then services will suffer in that district because you will put more energies in the quarrels instead of working together to agree on programs that are meant to help the population.
He urged them to stop sectarianism and hatred among themselves and focus on development and welfare of the people they lead. He also urged the leaders to unite for better service delivery to the people of Kanungu.
Chairpersons, cows, DPOs, this is a very good gesture, and I call for unity, for teamwork. We need to work together so that we can serve the people for whom we are in these positions that we occupy.
The Member of Parliament for Chinchizi West, James Kaberuka, also called for commitment towards work.
So which means we have to look at what is wrong
because we have resources at our disposal.
The leaders told the minister the hindrances they encounter in offering services to the people that included health and roads.
Minister nabanishaka ngu mwaba immunizing abantu mwishuka abantu abarimo. We are singing COVID. Abamwe nempumi ebiturukandika tibari kubireba. Hari abashira matu tibari kurira nebiturukutere ndurungu nabo munga.
Radio yimwatwire na minister since you are minister for information. Ngwegese omulika nungu Radio West kunya tutwajikwata. Even Voice of Kaba kunya tutwajikwata. So twanshaba wabo lyokwe oteera kabatweze program za radio za kanungu zegesechi ombani.
The LC5 councillor of Rogeyo Sub-County, Joseph Akankwasa, says the construction of the roads has improved their movement of goods to other parts of the country.
Sima MP watobeherezo obu kwikartindo aha nguru anu kusima obumushisha mukuru Dr. Chris bajo munsi habuja tikoli ati waleba side ejo oruguto side yego abonire
mostly in Mission Parish and Kayungo Parish in the sub-county. These roads will help us to connect Rujeyo sub-county in Kanungu district with Nyachenyi in Rukunjiri district.
Jane Yuramchia, UBC News in Kanungu.
State Minister for National Guidance, Godfrey Kabyanga, says government will start implementing the National Guidance Plan on mindset change in 6 months' time. The minister was meeting civil society and NRM members here in Kampala.
Mindset change is an area that has not been tackled, although the NRM government has focused on developing the country with a misconception that Ugandans' attitude is still the same.
At a certain point, government concentrated on putting infrastructure in place and thought people will catch up. When the roads are good, when the schools are good, it has been realized that people have not gone into commercial agriculture to produce enough for household consumption and then balance for the market, so that they can take their products to the market because the roads are good.
To date, NRM has realized Ugandans must appreciate their country and know their rights instead of criticizing government. All stakeholders in development, including civil society organizations, need to appreciate change rather than criticize effort government invests in the development of the country.
We don't want to have disjointed information. We want really to give the people the same information. But when you pump people with the divergent information, then the country can't move. NRM, we are very, very serious because we want the country to take off. And we can't take off, we can't reach the middle income status at the targeted time if people's attitude is still low about work, is still low about production. If civil society is still concentrating on criticizing and not giving alternative policy, and not correcting government on what should be done, on where they think government has gone wrong. Trying to bridge the gap now, so that all of us stakeholders can think in the same direction.
The missing link has been coordination. Coordination between civil society and government entities. We have been working in isolation, and that's why there has been that criticism between government and civil society. Because we are not speaking the same language, we are not moving in the same direction. And I believe what we have started today is towards agreeing on which direction to take and what to carry along with us as we take that direction.
Meanwhile, corruption hinders development and government needs a strategy to fight corruption. In the meantime, mindset change will support the fight against corruption. Shaidat Nasaku, UBC News.
Thanks, Shaidat, for that report. And of course, mindset change being fronted there as one of the remedies to corruption in the country. Now, Marie Stopes has opened up for youth to enhance their mindset on family planning and reduce teenage pregnancy. Murray Stopes Public Relations Officer Faith Chateka says teenage pregnancies is as a result of the increasing poverty in communities. Let's get more in this report.
Over 25% of young girls, especially those living in northern Uganda, get pregnant at early ages, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic lockdown on schools. The Public Relations Officer, Murray Stopes Faith Chateka, reveals that these cases are as a result of the lockdown on schools and poverty in homes. Murray Stopes, the Netherlands Embassy, and UNFPA have launched the Answer Project, targeting over 10,000 young girls at the risk of getting pregnant.
Rural environments have lots of cultural and traditional norms that they hold dear. Within those same communities, we also see that there's a lot of myths and misconceptions about family planning. Some still believe that they'll give birth to disabled children, for example, if they use a family planning method. Therefore, that causes a lot of stigma and a lot of fear to use family planning methods within the community. Therefore, what that communicates to us as Murray Stopes is that we need to continue sensitizing the community and raising awareness about the need for family planning, demystifying the myths and misconceptions, and importantly, availing these methods and services.
The in-charge Yumbe Health Center, Arafat Baraka, says the Answer Project will help in creating awareness among communities of northern Uganda on family planning methods.
As you find that mothers feel motivated. So, and of course, the direct impact is that, of course, you see the facility indicators keep on improving, and we are so much pleased to have the project. Looking at the trend, we still hope that I think in the near future, even the indicators will continue to increase and be more better.
It's coming to 20 minutes to 11 in the studios of UBC TV. We'll now be taking a very short break, but we'll be returning with much more. Do stay with us.
I smile when I think of you, Uganda, my home. My home, I dance when I look at you, Uganda, my home. Oh, my Uganda.
I know, with you I'll always stay forever. I know, because I feel that we belong together. My home. On my heart, mommy, oh my Uganda.
Hey, mama.
My Uganda.
Oh,
my Uganda.
Oh,
my Uganda. My Uganda. Nigokone. My Uganda. Amari, Alemira. My Uganda.
At MTN, we look forward to starting another exciting journey together to grow our home, Uganda.
The world record has been broken by almost exactly 2 seconds. He's Joshua Cheptegei of Uganda. This is superb running.
I've shared my story with the world, with you, but you've only seen the half of it. Because to truly know and appreciate my story, you will have to see it for yourself. My home, my Uganda. From the breathtaking waterfalls of the Nile to every beautiful sunrise and sunset, from the amazing blankets of green to the priceless treasures that lie within. Along the way, I have met some unusual friends, the world-famous silverbacks. When I see them, I behold Uganda's treasures. So yes, you see me and celebrate Uganda. I assure you, there is a lot more in store. I have lived here for years, but even I am yet to see its full glory. Join me. Let's take on the Pearl of Africa together.
Uganda, today is a great day to work towards your dreams. Dial *185 *7 hash and select savings to save as low as 500 Ugandan shillings on regular savings or 250,000 Ugandan shillings for fixed deposits. Airtel Money Super Saver is powered by KCB Bank Uganda. Airtel Money, instant, secure, borderless. T's and C's apply.
Welcome back from that short break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Now, government has confirmed that the late Deputy Inspector General of Police, Major General Paul Okech, will be accorded an official burial ceremony as stipulated in the Public Service Protocol. In an interview with UBC, Uganda Prison Service Head of Communication, Frank Beine, who is also a member of the Government Protocol Committee, shared an insight with us about this government policy requirement.
The Uganda Constitution, through the annex in the Public Service Protocol, recognizes only three burial or funeral categories, thus the state, official, and special.
A state funeral is a public funeral ceremony held to honor people of national significance, including serving and former heads of state, prominent individuals for their outstanding achievement and distinguished service to the country, and any other leader or personality such as traditional, political leader, etc., as the president may decide.
Accordingly, apart from the president, former presidents, and other VIPs, as the sitting president may decide, are the only categories which are guaranteed a state burial. Others may fall under the official arrangement.
An official funeral is held in honor of a serving or former vice president, speaker, chief justice, deputy speaker, justices of the court of judicature, prime ministers, leaders of opposition in parliament, as well as serving ministers, members of parliament, head of public service, deputy head of public service, permanent secretaries, heads of diplomatic missions abroad, and service chiefs, together with senior military officers.
Therefore, the foreign Deputy Inspector General of Police, Major General Paul Okech, will be accorded an official send-off.
Being that General Okech was a Deputy Inspector General of Police, his is an official burial ceremony or funeral ceremony, and by the tentative program, we have service at his home on Wednesday, official.
At Naguru Police Headquarters in Kampala, the force flag is flying at a half-mast until the final send-off of the police second in command.
It is provided that flags fly half-mast. It is here. Flags flying at half-mast for serving. Why they put it in now, not in the general country. The institution where he has been serving have to inform. It is as an information of mourning. Accordingly, it is incumbent that the flags of the institution which he was working in are actually the ones which should fly half-mast.
Asked about the tune of gun salutes likely to be accorded to the Lion of Mogadishu, Biden notes that this is a decision which lies within the jurisdictions of both police and the army.
Because normally
they give out a program and a layout. It is all determined by those who are organizing or coordinating the ceremony. Whether they want to make it 21, whether they are making it 13, the discretion now rests with the top, I would say the high command of UPDF and the top leadership of Uganda Police Force.
The late Major General Paul Lokech is set to be laid to rest on Friday, 27th August 2021 at his ancestral burial ground in Padale District. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Prison Services Public Relations Officer there, Frank Wayne, shedding more light on the difference between a state funeral and an official funeral. And we do hope that we've got the difference there. Senior military officer Major General Paul Lokech, now deceased, will be remembered for his tough talk against terrorism. Now 8 months in office as a deputy IGP, Lokech successfully led an operation to crack down assassins who shot at General Katumba Wamala's vehicle, killing his daughter and driver instantly. His last tough appearance before media was when security managed to recover guns used to kill prominent people in Uganda. Ivan Kahwa has more.
He was a gallant soldier, an expert in his field with undoubted high level of expertise to deal with terrorists.
Any Al-Shabaab who tries to attack us must die. There is no mediation on that.
A two-star general, Paul Lokech, now the deceased Deputy Inspector General of Police, was appointed by the head of state, who is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, on the 16th December 2020 to ascend to the second highest office in Uganda Police Force. The calm, yet tough and articulate general ejected the Al-Shabaab militants from Somalia when he was Uganda's AMISOM contingent commander in 2011 and 2012. He captured key places of the Red Mosque in Somalia's capital Mogadishu and got himself the nickname of the Lion of Mogadishu that features on his profile. In the year 2012, puzzling incidents of gunning down Muslim clerics ensued till 2015. The media was awash with terrifying news of assassinations. 12 Muslim clerics were underground, dead. The killings were linked to ADF. The Allied Democratic Force was not a new force to Lokech. He was part of Operation Safe Haven, where UPDF detrimentally went aggressive on rebels of the Allied Democratic Front. Jamil Mukuru was the commander of the rebel group and is now behind bars. Mukuru was arrested under General Kale Kaihura's tenure.
This achievement is a big success for the people of Uganda. This is our Osama bin Laden. It's as historic and as significant as that.
At the beginning of his tenure, Isaac Senyange, known as Zebra Mando, was killed in cold blood at his residence in Kawempe on 30th December 2020. The head of state would later inform Ugandans that Zebra was slated to meet him before his murder.
They had even organized for COVID tests. He was supposed to come and see me with other people. Then we had this unfortunate incident.
This became the first high-profile killing under Lokech's tenure as Deputy IGP. Nonetheless, 6 months later, terrifying news shocked many as General Katumba Wamala was shot at, killing his daughter and driver. Lokech made an appearance at the crime scene. Three weeks later, the two-star general made several appearances on media platforms, updating the nation about the matter.
This finding tells us that this is an ADF cell
We arrested them from different areas. Others we arrested from Kikaya. Others we arrested them from Kawanda. Others we arrested them from Nansana. Others we arrested them from Katoke. And when he came to Oryx around here is when he handed over the gun. This Mukwas, even on his passport, went to Tanzania, Kenya, and Mozambique. This is one of the guns which was used. Yeah, so you can then see that these were the guns, even in my footage, these were the guns that Master and Kanebe were holding. At last, we have got the killer guns. We are still looking for Sheikh Obaida, whom we think is the main cell leader within the region now, in Uganda.
Some suspects were killed, others arrested.
We have 4 suspects in our cells and 2 are dead.
Only under this experienced gallant officer who confidently spoke with authority about terrorism.
In other situations, which we haven't yet seen here, when you're going to handle these people, you need also to be very, very careful. Others even blow themselves off. I have been in those situations myself, so there is nothing new you're going to tell me. When I killed Fazul in Somalia, I hope you knew about this. UPDF killed Fazul. Fazul was the main terrorist leader of East Africa who blew up the American embassy in Nairobi and Dar es Salaam. They all had wrapped themselves with bombs. Immediately we shot Fazul, the rest triggered the explosives. So we are always very, very sensitive when we are dealing with this type of operations.
Lokech succumbed to a blood clot that had formed in one of his big blood vessels after his lower right leg was injured. He was pronounced dead on Saturday 21st August 2021 at 10 a.m. in Kira Town Council. Ivan Kahwa, UBC.
And those are some of the few, we could say, military engagements that General Lokech was involved in, and may his soul rest in eternal bliss. It is now 100 days since President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni was sworn in for his 6th term after a landslide victory in an election that had attracted 11 candidates. Now, with his campaigns hinged on securing Uganda's future, President Yoweri Museveni has since formed a new government. So, at what stage is the national resistance movement in delivering what it promised Ugandans 100 days later? Henry Okrut has more in this.
I, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni,
the oaths were taken.
Swear in the name of the Almighty God.
Commitments were made.
The elections are over.
And actions are following.
Let us get down to work.
New ministers were appointed and vetted.
I, Alupo Jessica Rosebel.
Vows were made.
Swear in the name of the Almighty God.
And assurances were given.
You must be patriotic for you to fight corruption.
New permanent secretaries were named, with some reshuffled and others retired in public interests.
You appoint an angel, they will criticize. You appoint an evil, a devil, they will criticize.
All these have been part of efforts to form a new government. It is now 3 months and 10 days since this began. What is there to show and do more? 100 days since President Yoweri Museveni took oath for a 6th term in office.
The President is now receiving the National Coat of Arms.
The small colonial enclave economy of 1971 that had been wiped out by the Amin regime has been restored, greatly expanded, and totally new products have been added. This has now vindicated the stand of the NRM ever since 1965.
President Yoweri Museveni had just taken oath for another 5-year term in office when he made this observation. Concerned that subsistence agricultural production in the country was still common, he called on countrymen and women to embrace commercial farming.
The 4 economic sectors where there are jobs and wealth are commercial agriculture, Emu, with the Chivaro, Chura, Aymar, Otita, counting profitability, industries, services, and ICT.
Farmers from northern Uganda have listened to this gospel. 27-year-old Alfred Ojok from Nwea district dropped out of school and opted for coffee farming.
Our life will gradually change, and we shall be the people who move with the head up. You know, if you have money, you don't move like this. Yes, you move as a man with money. So that is what will happen in northern Uganda.
Ojok works alongside his wife, Flavia Ojok, and is supported by Operation Wealth Creation.
People who are coming into farming, people who speak that Operation Wealth Creation doesn't work. There are people who are not doing farming. There are people who are involved in business. They don't see this thing as something important.
We work in the garden together. If we get money, we plant together.
So there are quality, high-value crops that we thought of that our people should embark on, like coffee.
A couple of kilometers away, we stop at Laropeche, one of the divisions that make up the recently created city of Gulu, still in northern Uganda. We find Lalam Pascal Oketa, a retired civil servant who formerly worked with Bank of Uganda. She starts her day on a busy note, preoccupied with finding and preparing food for these livestock.
If there's 24 hours, 8 hours is your work in the office. 8 hours is for your good rest. What do you do with your other 8 hours? Don't waste it into going to joints. Don't waste it into sitting, lounging, talking, nothing. Get something that you can do.
This is how far northern Uganda has gone in recovering from the effects of the LRA insurgency. The adoption of commercial farming is imminent, with formerly rare cash crops in the area being adopted.
And so we started adapting crops that can give us better returns. I'm sure if you move in the north now, you don't see much of tobacco farming. People have left tobacco for coffee. People have left tobacco for maize production. People have left tobacco for cassava. People have left tobacco for products that can give them quick returns.
This progress, however, is not confined to northern Uganda. In Teso sub-region, we visit a fruit farming conglomerate in Soroti district. We Garden, as it is known, is proud of the ready market for its products, thanks to the establishment of Soroti Fruit Factory.
Because as farmers we realize that we are producing, but there is nothing much that we are getting. Well, let's ask the government to give us what? The factory. Thanks be to God, government listened to our prayer and the factory was given to us. Now 70% of our fruits are being consumed by the factory.
Wherever I pass, people really send gratitude to government for having brought a very good project, as opposed to the colonial times when they were relying on cotton and which cotton has to be grown only once in a year.
This is just part of actualizing the 23 directives that the head of state gave to the cabinet in June 2021. The cabinet, which was named on 8th June 2021, was tasked to reduce the cost of electricity, conclude standard gauge railway, and make constructed industrial parks operational.
These industrial parks were built in Mbarara, Kabale, Kasese, Chenjojo, Mubende, Mbali, Kwen, Jinja, Napak, Chibuku, Zombo, Gulu, Lira, and Kayunga. All these industrial parks are supposed to act as a foundation to help our young people get skills, to help our young people get the necessary tools to start the businesses, and then to help our young people start up projects within their localities.
This is just in line with Chapter 6 of the 2021 to 2026 NRM Manifesto. It highlights the requirements for basic needs including electricity and transport infrastructure in order to run factories. Indeed, necessary roads have been built and more are programmed for construction and maintenance.
Where maybe ombuguto butonotono obuyingireyo mundeyo kawempeyo mu bifo byaffe, maybe using now electric pikipikis instead of these ones. That one can be started, can also be started.
By so doing, work already started by Uganda's scientists in making electric buses will be boosted. In the said NRM Manifesto, 400 billion Uganda shillings was proposed for this purpose.
The people who have really saved the country are the scientists. So these young people, like these ones here, these young people, tufirwa ki abaana abo bwe tubasasula bulungi ne banywerera wano ne balemwa okusumaasumwa kugenda bweru.
In seeing this actualized, the road has always been bumpy, with challenges such as tax evasion, unemployment and land fragmentation, among others. These being among the 23 directives issued to Cabinet in June. Ministers are concentrating on addressing them, including fighting corruption in the judiciary.
Which are in line with the National Development Plan 3, they're in line with the manifesto of the party that was used for the campaigns, that is in line with all the development documents of government. And of course, these guidelines were premise of the need to have coercion in government. We want a government that works together. We want a government that is coercive in nature. We want a government that is corruption-free.
And it's really very annoying for somebody to steal government money, to steal even to steal people's goats, and you find the following day walking. So I am going to bring legislation to stop bail for embezzlement.
When this is done and embezzlement is dealt a blow, even the just adopted parish development model of agriculture will be a success.
Because if we put 100 million per parish per year, in 5 years, we shall be talking of 500 million in the parish circle, government contribution, and revolving.
Development in Uganda has been a long journey that has not just been confined to farming, but also extended to other ventures. Foundation stones have been laid for various projects. Factories have been commissioned, scientists have been trained, and security has been boosted. What a good way to start a new 5-year mandate for the welfare of Ugandans. It is all commitment from the NRM Party Secretariat in having the manifesto well implemented.
We are the custodian of the manifesto. We are the custodian of the services that our government is delivering to the population. Our interest is to make sure that the ministers and the civil servants and all the officials of government are performing and implementing these directives as and when they are supposed to do.
It will, however, take patriotism and Pan-Africanism, as opposed to tribalism, to have anything achieved.
If the tribes are important, why do we have a surplus of maize and sugar and all which they cannot be bought? The NRM has been telling you from 1965 that Pan-Africanism is the way for Africa to go.
The day was Wednesday, 12th May 2021, when all these pledges, commitments and appeals were made. And 100 days later, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has a reason to smile and continue progressively guiding the country as work remains on course. Henry Okurut, UBC.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa only if we stay at home, observe physical distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly, or get vaccinated now.
The protection of copyright and related rights is vital to the growth of the creative industry and has cultural, economic and social implications in the transformation of the economy. This year, the African Regional Intellectual Property Organization member states will meet at Speak Resort Munyonyo to adopt the draft protocol on voluntary registration of copyright and related rights, the first ever in Africa. This will be the first protocol of copyright on our continent. Uganda will host the conference at Speak Resort Munyonyo from August 20th to 28th, 2021. Be part of this live coverage of the proceedings of the conference on the following dates. Live on your national broadcaster TV station, UBC TV. The President of the Republic of Uganda, His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, will grace the opening of this diplomatic conference on Friday, 27th August 2021. Join the conversation using the hashtag Copyright Protocol. This conference is organized by Uganda Registration Services Bureau with support of the Government of Uganda and the following partners.
Welcome back from that break, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. Let's have a look now at what's happening in the world of business. And police and other sister security agencies have relaxed enforcement of curfew time among the public. Now, the traders in downtown Kampala have taken advantage of the situation and carry out their activities beyond curfew time. Police is, however, peacefully evacuating the public from the city, as we hear from this report.
Ever since on the presidential address on security cautioning police and sister agencies on observing human rights on citizens, enforcement past curfew time has become peaceful. Recently, President Museveni put police and other security agencies on spotlight on the way it was handling curfew violators.
Basically, I think due to the presidential address, that's why these guys have really calmed down and they no longer beat people. Well, it is up to us to go when it is still early because it is necessary, because it is curfew time and they haven't changed. But I think due to the address, these guys have really adjusted, to the situation. So that's why people have come down.
Obukambwe bwakendera mukwalo litwayitanga muno nga batukuba bukuba embooko n'okutusalirako ddala nga tewakyali ssaawa eno muntu akkirira naye kati bawoggana naye ng'ate basobola okukola ki okutuleka ne tuba nga tuyitawo.
Unlike before, city traders are now trading beyond 7 p.m. curfew time.
It is now close to 8 p.m. but just like you can see here in the city downtown Kampala, there is still a huge number of people still moving out of the city despite the past curfew time, and for the first time police, as a way of enforcing the curfew time, has actually been pleading with people to move out of the city at this time, just like you can see, as hundreds are still vacating the city. For the first time in the enforcement, police has not been beating anyone, but they have rather been using peaceful means to make sure that people move out of the city.
Seda Mubale, UBC News, Kampala.
Sports news now, and a Sports Club Villa presidential aspirant Medad Luwega Segona has launched his manifesto. The club goes to the polls this coming Saturday to elect its 8th president, with Segona in contention against Dennis Mbide. John Barnes Sentamu reports.
Ladies and gentlemen, mark us judges by this. It is our script. We shall live by it. And we shall regularly, continually and continuously examine ourselves by this standard before you examine us.
With just days to elections, the battle to become Sports Club Villa's 8th president has gained momentum, with one of the candidates, Medad Luwega Segona, launching his manifesto.
Governance. We shall continue to build Sports Club Villa on the principles of being a community club. We shall continue to build the team on the laid foundation for improved governance and principles such as the following. 1. Allocation and separation of powers and roles.
At the manifesto launch at Katikati Restaurant in Kampala, the Busiro South MP highlighted key areas of focus.
We are the Segwanga. And that position must be reclaimed. Not today, but now. But we can only achieve that if we are united for the same purpose and for the same goal. I do not want to hear of anyone talking about disunity in this club. We belong to one club. We are therefore one team, and we must work as that team.
He also introduced his proposed executive committee members, including Senior Vice President Joseph Kizito, Joe Chigozi, Brian Retute, and Norbert Kaziwe.
This is critical and was always the turning point. We always missed structures.
This latest activity at the club has been welcomed by the fans, who now eye success to replicate yesteryears, during which Sports Club Villa won 16 league titles and 10 Uganda Cup victories.
Tuludde ebbanga nga tuyina abafuzi naye nga tuyina abakulembeze. Leero Villa ereeta Segona ng'omukulembeze. Era we tuli Villa ekonkonye enjiji za ttiimu endala n'etandika okugula ng'egula ba contract ekibadde tekiriiwo. Era ndi musanyufu nnyo olw'okufuna omuntu omukulembeze.
Kitegeeza kinene nnyo eri Sports Club Villa Jogo Saalongo. Olwaleero tugenda kufuna obukulembeze bwe twalayanira okuva obwedda. Era omukulembeze ono gwe tugenda okulonda Honorable Medad Luwega Segona agenda kutuusa Villa ku ntikko kuba tumusuubiramu bingi nnyo.
At this weekend's election, to be hosted at Villa Park but also online, Segona is up against Dennis Mbide Sebugwao. It should be noted that Sports Club Villa has since 2018 been run by an interim committee, with this following Ben Emmanuel Misagai's dropping of intentions to seek re-election. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
We've almost come to the end of this bulletin, but before we leave you, let's have a quick reminder of our headlines. In our top stories tonight, members of parliament want government to use the Karamoja disarmament style to curb illegal fishing. Uganda registers 34,000 new cancer cases annually. Elsewhere in the world, Organization of Islamic Cooperation holds emergency meeting on Afghanistan. And in sports, Medad Segona launches manifesto, targets proper governance as SC Villa elections are to take place. And that brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for having kept us company. I'm Rukidi Edward Kichanongoma wishing you a blessed night. But I will leave you with Daphne Kabasita and Samba with the weather forecast for tomorrow. Catch you tomorrow.
Sunny intervals are prevailed in most parts of our country today, though some areas around the central part of Uganda, we had showers this afternoon. According to the report that received today, by 9 a.m. Chitugum had 20.0 millimeters, Tora we had 19.5 millimeters, and then Lida we had 2.0 millimeters. The satellite image over Africa, it shows that there is a high pressure center over South Africa. It has caused the rain belt to slightly shift northwards, though we are benefiting from the winds that are coming in from the Indian Ocean towards our country. That's why the eastern part and the northern part are benefiting. For tomorrow, we are expecting to start the day with sunny intervals in the northern part and western part of Uganda, and then other parts of Uganda like central around Lake Victoria, we are expecting showers. Later in the afternoon, we are expecting showers in most parts of Uganda, apart from the northeastern where we are expecting sunny intervals. Temperatures expected to rise to 29 and 28 in most parts of the country, apart from some few areas like Kabale where we're expecting temperatures to rise to 24 degrees Celsius. Going to Nairobi, we are expecting sunny intervals. Cairo, Paris, and also Dubai, we're expecting sunny conditions. In Cape Town, we're expecting showers. That's what we had in our store. Thanks for joining UBC. I'm Daphne Kawasita Nsamba.